I am here with Scott Snyder, one of my favorite comic book writers working today. I am obsessed with your Batman. I'm so excited to see you team up with Capullo again. What has it been like working with him again? Do you guys have a great shorthand?
Oh yeah, he's like family to me at this point. I mean, we never really stopped talking. So even though we haven't been doing a book together for a while, we text and call and all of it pretty much every day. So to me, it hasn't been a break because we've been talking about the ideas for this book for years. We really came up with this one, Batman: Last Night on Earth, when we were doing 0 Year. It was actually at this con when I was starting Batman, and I was freaking out because I was so just terrified of the book. I bumped into Grant Morrison, and Grant Morrison said to me, I won't try to do his accent because it always comes out sounding like some bad Boston accent or whatever. But he's like, you know how you're going to get over your jitters? You've got to give your Batman a birth and a death. Give him your version of the origin story and give him your Dark Knight Returns. And so I started thinking about this when I began thinking about 0 Year. I thought it was amazing advice from him. He always has incredible advice. So this story has been in my head for about, I guess, 5 years, 6 years. So it really is the culmination of everything we've built on Batman. Every aspect of it is some kind of return to home. Everything about it really centers on this notion of a world that doesn't want its superheroes anymore, that has chosen the villains, and what is Batman's place in that world. It's a lot of fun. It literally, I remember pitching it to Greg, and I was telling him book one opens with Bruce on a case, and he's in the middle of trying to solve this case, and suddenly he wakes up in Arkham Asylum, and his doctor is there, and his doctor looks oddly like the Joker, and he's saying, "Thank God we finally found a medicine that breaks through to you. You've been here for 10 years, ever since you killed your parents in that alley, Bruce."
Yeah.
And he looks around, and his chiropractor looks a lot like Bane, and and as he starts to discover this is all just a big cage built for him and sets out on this odyssey, I think you'll see a very, very changed DC universe.
The big moment for me was when Alfred felt like he betrayed him, and you're not sure if you should trust it because Alfred's choice makes you question everything even more.
Exactly.
Because Alfred's that sense of right and wrong. So if Alfred's making a choice, you're like, Bruce, what have you done? Which I think is a great use of that character because he's such a strong character.
Oh, I love Alfred as a dad. Alfred is one of my favorites to write and one of my least favorites because he always gets hurt. It's always it's like he's the father who has a son who does something he loves and admires and but puts his son in the line of danger a lot. And I feel that with my kids when I see them do anything dangerous that I'm still proud of them for doing,
Yeah.
Anything ambitious. So yeah, Alfred is close to my heart.
He's a perfect red shirt. He's always the red shirt, and that's the problem.
Yes, exactly.
So if Last Night on Earth represents the end of this tale, where would the Batman Who Laughs lie? Is that like a side street?
Yeah, well, I guess what I'd say is, for me, I think the way I would sell my work to everybody out there, beyond sort of the P.T. Barnum pitches, which I love doing myself anyway, and all of it, is to say that everything I'm working on sort of centers on the same ideas and approaches them from different kind of prismatic angles, but it's stuff I'm really worried about for my kids and for the future. It really is this idea that the more sort of self-centered we get over time, the more isolated we get, the more difficult it's going to be to solve these kind of big systemic problems, and that there's this constant pull and temptation on everything on an individual level, from social media to the way we consume entertainment to the way we insulate ourselves with beliefs and views politically that sort of just support our own, to, you see these giant tectonic movements at a global scale with countries retreating from each other. There's a sense of, I just need to worry about me. I'm going to consume sort of what I want, as opposed to kind of a sense of smallness and collectivism and humility. And so every book I'm working on sort of approaches that theme differently. Justice League does, and Last Night is very much about people falling for that, that sort of pitch from Lex Luthor. So Batman Who Laughs is almost the darkest culmination and extreme version of that thinking. The Batman Who Laughs as a character is Bruce's worst nightmare. He comes from a place called the Dark Multiverse, and it imagines that all of our hopes and fears exist in this place. And he's Bruce's fear that one day he'll cross the line, kill the Joker, and the Joker's heart will contain a toxin that makes whoever kills him the next Joker.
Right.
So it's Batman completely devoid of morals and ethics, and he's the Batman who always wins. His whole goal is just to win. He's sort of the apex predator of his world. He's destroyed world after world in this dark realm, and now he comes here to face off with Batman. And so his deep belief is that the bat is the only mammal that can fly, right? And he believes that the bat's job is to show people how to become the thing they were always meant to become and soar. And that is this belief that evil and selfishness is something that isn't found in the natural world except in humans, and it's what makes us special. So he thinks that's what we're meant to be. We're designed to be dark. We're designed to be cruel and designed to be self-interested. So lean into that. Like, I'll show you how to be that. Win. Just win. And so that book is deeply personal to me, and also extremely fun from a very sort of evil, dark angle.
I love the lettering. I love the use of that inside text, and I love the perspective, because it's a Batman story that's never been told for this very unique lens. But we've also got things like the Batman himself. I wonder, for you, since you've written him so much, it's not a coincidence to me that Heath Ledger's Joker was the first mainstream Oscar, and now with this Black Label arc of the films, we're looking at a circuit basically run for the Joker. It's not at Comic-Con because it's theoretically going on a film circuit. What do you think makes Batman so universally approachable that he's breaking the barriers of these comic book norms?
Oh, I think at heart he's a really simple folktale. I mean, Batman is enduring to me because he says, you take any trauma, anything bad in your life, and you use it as fuel to do good. You make your life matter. Our version of Batman is very much about saying you win, as Batman wins, when you recognize that everything you do means something.
Yeah.
So every day, every moment, do something that makes the world better. Joker is the opposite to us. Joker is the one that says you win when you finally realize that nothing you do matters, and you just embrace the insanity of thinking so and the absurdity of that. And Batman Who Laughs is just like, win. That's it. He doesn't care. So that's why they make a really good triangle. But I think that's what makes, for me, that's what makes him so adaptable and flexible. And 80 years of seeing him everywhere, from space to, the deep sea fighting sharks to Gotham City.
Yeah.
It's just, he's a really incredibly compelling construction that just says, when something bad happens, you take it, you use it as fuel to do something good.
Now, all my shows, Collider Heroes and Comic Book Shopping, I talk about Court of Owls, so I would hate myself if I don't bring up that masterpiece.
Thank you.
I love that it falls in between a year one and where we know the Bat today, and you found the perfect way to kind of plant a legacy and build a mythology within the mythos without messing up continuity. Where did that idea come from to go here?
That's worked for me arc after arc, at least in terms of my satisfaction with the work that we've done. Not that it's perfect, but just that I've always tried to approach it as, if you only have one chance to write Batman, it's this arc. So what is the story you need to tell right now? And so each one of the arcs that I did on Batman, and still to this day with Metal and Batman Who Laughs, they're about things that I worry about for my kids, or that I'm hopeful about for myself, or something on my mind. And Court of Owls really, I wrote it or thought of it at a time in my life when I felt really displaced. I was really uncomfortable suddenly writing Bruce Wayne at number one. I never thought I'd climb any ladder that fast. I never wanted to. I was going back to the city a lot to go into the office to get help, and the office, the DC offices back when they were in New York City, were not far from where I grew up. Mm-hmm. So I would go from there back to the neighborhood I grew up in, and it was so changed, and nobody I knew lived there anymore. And there was this very humbling sense of how the city or you think changes right under your feet. And I knew that was what I wanted to do a story about. Batman takes all of his confidence from knowing Gotham better than anybody else. But what if Gotham says, you might know me right now, but you don't know me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years from now, I'll be a stranger to you.
Yeah.
And there's something deeply, I think, unsettling and humbling and also important about that. So I was like, if I can weaponize its history and hide villains he didn't know about in this long sort of all the nooks and crannies that way, it would be that. And I was like, well, what's a natural enemy of a bat? It's not really a clown, even though we all think it's an owl. So it was built from there. It was all from this feeling, honestly, of going home and suddenly seeing it as this very strange place.
Yeah. Well, I love that your Batman comes from a psychological place. A lot of writers write for action or for comedy, and I always love that your Batman comes from, and even just talking to you now, this psychological foundation that really, you feel it in the books, and all of these choices have resonated with me. Now, when do these next two come out? When do we get the last?
Oh yeah, it's a big month for me. Yeah, Batman Who Laughs 7, the big finale comes out on the 31st, and so does Batman Last Night on Earth book 2.
Amazing.
So yeah, it'll be a big Batman day for us, and the Batman Who Laughs, actually, in addition to just being the finale of our series, hooks into some of the other stuff we're doing with Year of the Villain, and has a bit of it's a complete thing. You can finish it and put it down and it's over. But there's a surprise at the end, like a coda, like a stinger, that leads you forward into some of the other stuff we're doing at DC this year.
Amazing. I'm so excited to see it. I'm excited for the Year of the Villain. I'm excited for all this stuff that's coming up. Thank you so much, guys. Tune in for more.